I thought, after making my Rocket Raccoon guide, that I would have scratched my itch for talking about Rocket. But I need to talk about him some more. So I bring to you a collection, a menagerie, a smattering of Rocket facts that are sure to titillate and amuse you. These facts are going to mainly focus on the Rivals version of Rocket. That way everything you learn here can help you better understand and appreciate the Rocket from the game specifically. So let's enjoy the amplifier and get this video underway. Symbiote. Added in Season 3, Rocket's symbiote skin has some neat lore, as the symbiote Rocket bonds with is no random symbiote. In the second lore entry for Rocket, we find out that this particular symbiote was previously bonded with Lila, Rocket's otter friend. And due to this previous bonding, the symbiote had the knowledge to save Rocket's life on Clintar, when his cybernetic implants were damaged. Because the symbiote will retain memories of their hosts, and Lila knew how to repair Rocket's implants. D&D lover. Something I found very fun was learning that Rocket is a huge fan of D&D-like games, which is why his Rocky the Transfer Student skin has some D&D references. Although in the Marvel Rivals universe, I believe D&D is based on the Guardians of the Galaxy, due to the comics and guides he has on his character. But this means he's not trying to just fit in with any random disguise, he just genuinely likes his stuff. And the reason Rocket enjoys this game so much is due to the strategy, as Rocket has one hell of a strategic mind in that tiny skull. But not only does he enjoy playing, he also enjoys being the dungeon master and curating the experience for his friends. Skin details. Next, I wanted to cover a few skins that have some details I find interesting. Rocky the Transfer. Initially, when the skin came out, the name tag on Rocky had the incorrect name of Rocket displayed. This was rectified shortly after, but you can still see the old name tag in his skin image. Also, the image is missing the ESU logo on his cap. Rocket of the Rafters. Rocket of the Rafters is one of my favorite skins, but his goggles don't actually line up with his eyes. He'd be looking into the frame and not the lenses. Sunshine Raccoon. Sunshine Raccoon has two interesting things I want to know. First, Rocket's beacon while using the skin has this unique tube of water effect. But this is actually a cool optical illusion. It's not really a 3D tube, it's a 2D image. These are used a lot in Rivals, and if you're wondering what they're called, they're known as sprite billboards, or just sprites or billboards. They're 2D images that always face the player's camera, giving the illusion of a 3D object if done right, usually with cylindrical or spherical items, as they have implied depth. And for the second fact on this skin, it would be the Season 3 lobby screen. Rocket's eyes are colored yellow in this image, but not in the final skin, which have a more natural eye color and sclera color. Symbiote Raccoon. Symbiote Raccoon is unique in that it's the only skin that removes Rocket's fur. This has the unintended effect of giving Rocket a smaller profile, making him appear as a smaller target, although this doesn't actually affect his hitbox. Rocky. Finally, for the skins, we have Rocky. I recently learned this, but Rocket's alternate recolor is a reference to Rocket's original appearance, right down to the name. Rocket went by the name Rocky back in the day and had these colors. And this isn't technically about any skin in particular, but on Rocket's cosmetic screen for his skins, every single skin is flipped the wrong way when compared to the actual model, except for his holiday skin. Although, his Guardians of the Galaxy 3 skin is too symmetrical to tell, unlike every other skin which has a detail you can point out. This seems to be a Rocket exclusive mistake, as every other character has their pictures the correct way. Seriously, I checked every single hero and every single costume for any detail. They all match. It took so long. It was so boring. I wanted to look at my phone. Clintar. On Clintar, symbiotic surface, you can find the location mentioned in Rocket's first lore entry. This was Rocket's workshop that he used to craft the device he used to swap the Milano's position, and actually as Rocket, if you head to that location, he'll play a special voice line. Here it is.
Nobody better put a hand on my equipment. This stuff is for professionals only. And that don't mean you.
Arsenal. I've seen some confusion around this voice line where Rocket discusses his arsenal with Punisher.
Yeah? What do you got in your trash can?
Let's see. Ion turret, photon reaction chain gun, mini black hole.
Most of the confusion seems to stem from people not knowing what each of the things Rocket mentions refers to, and I'm here to clear the air. Starting with the photon reaction chain gun, which is pretty obvious among these. It's his main weapon. It fires energy-based projectiles, which I guess uses a photon reaction. And the next two that Rocket mentioned, I suspect are going to go hand in hand. The mini black hole can be seen in Rocket's ultimate, at its center. And what I suspect is the ion turret is the mechanism surrounding the black hole. Ions, or better known as plasma, are created near and around black holes due to the extreme gravity and friction. So I think the ion turret is projecting these ions onto allies to boost damage, basically making it the ion turret he is talking about. And as a side fact, the name SIA, Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, is interesting. A yarn is another word for a tale or story, so essentially Rocket named this device because once it's deployed, it's bound to make one hell of a story. Squirrel Girl Team Up. In the game files, there are unused voice lines for Rocket that were intended for a team-up ability between Squirrel Girl and Rocket.
Rodents united! We made quite the pair! Small, furry, and deadly!
There was no info on what this team-up was outside of the voice lines, so it's a bit mysterious. Rocket's expressions. Out of all the characters in the game, Rocket falls into a special category. That being a category of characters that change their expressions during battles and actions. Basically, any hero that has a non-standard human face will change their expressions during most actions. Currently, those heroes are Jeff, Venom, Devil Dino, and of course, Rocket. Rocket ability. MarvelRivals.gg is a website that has info on many heroes, abilities, and other aspects of the game. And on Rocket's page, there seems to be a mistake or possible hint to a future ability. It reads as follows. Gravity modification. Draw in and fling chronoviums to launch the hit enemy upwards. Whether this is a mistake or not, it would be nice to get a grenade ability on Rocket. I mean, he literally has a grenade on his hip that isn't being used. And in the lore, he even talks about having a chrono grenade. Perhaps this was a pre-launch ability that was scrapped. Flark origin. Flark is seemingly one of Rocket's favorite words, and for good reason. It's quite versatile.
Flark, 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 and flark, 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 and helpful.
And there's more to it than just being a simple F-bomb. Coined in the 90s by Peter David, this swear word was actually first used in the Hulk comics from what I can gather, and then later used in the Guardians of the Galaxy and Rocket. It mostly replaces the F word you think it does. And another curse word you may not be aware of in Marvel Rivals, used by Rocket, is the word scut. He only says it in this voice line.
Seriously, stay away from my scut!
Essentially, it's Rocket saying shit. Seriously, stay away from my shit. Translated by me. You're welcome. Raccoon accuracy. For our final factoid, I wanted to talk about the accuracy of Rocket's anatomy as a raccoon in Marvel Rivals. As surprisingly, they got many things accurate. Things you wouldn't expect. Like his teeth, for example. It would have been simple to just use a pre-existing set of teeth and modify them, but that doesn't seem to be the case, as they got the number of teeth accurate for Rocket. Raccoons have 40 teeth in total, as opposed to a human's 32, which is an impressive detail that they got right. Next is something I found very interesting, and it's Rocket's tails across his skins. For the most part, raccoons will always have a tail ending in a dark tip, unless damaged or something went wrong with the tail's development. And in Rocket skins, this is mostly true. except in the case of Rocky the transfer student and Sunshine Raccoon. However, this may be accurate despite being the supposed incorrect color, as there is a condition called leucism, which is like albinism, but the organism will retain some pigment instead of losing all of it. And in raccoons, this can result in a light-colored tail tip, and it is convenient that these are two of Rocket's lightest skins featuring blondish fur. So I think this is actually what they based it off of. His holiday skin does have a darker tip tail, but leucism doesn't make that impossible, it just makes the light tip possible. And lastly, we have one small inaccuracy. However, I think it only benefits Rocket's design. His little feet. It is immediately apparent when you first see Rocket that he has more animal-like legs, which I really enjoy about his design. It makes him stand out and appear different than his human friends. But raccoons do not stand on their toes like this in reality, which is what we call digitigrades. Digitigrade animals include cats and dogs, the backwards looking legs, while raccoons are plantigrades, like you, meaning when standing the heel makes contact with the ground, but that would look really weird for Rocket, so I think we can leave it as is. Sadly, that's the end of my Rocket facts. There are seriously no more facts after this outro. I know it's very disappointing that there are no more facts, but hey, that's just life. I'm so glad I got to talk about Rocket again though. It always puts a smile on my face, and I just love this version of Rocket. And if you made it this far, I'm guessing you like learning about our furry guy too. Maybe I'll make another Rocket video soon. I did have an idea for a Rocket video, but it would take a while to make. So if you want more Rocket, consider subbing so you can see it. But until then,
Bye-bye.
but wait, there's more. I lied. One more fact. It's just a regurgitation of the trivia found on his wiki page, but Rocket was inspired by the Beatles song Rocky Raccoon. And some of the lyrics are very obviously what inspired him. Just a cool piece of trivia, but I didn't make it, so I didn't add it to the video. Until now.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Rocket's tree service. Aim for the big tree. We better speed up or that tree's gonna be all dried up. This is a nice spot. You can count on me.